Zeus could threaten Olympians, defeat Titans, and shake the world with thunder. But in the Iliad, one divine figure makes even him stop. When the god of sleep flees from Zeus's rage, he takes refuge with Nyx, night herself. Zeus does not follow. Was the king of the gods actually afraid of Nyx? Or has one ancient line been turned into a much bigger modern legend? The one power Zeus would not challenge. The famous claim that Zeus feared Nyx comes from one of the strangest moments in the Iliad. Hera wants to distract Zeus so the Greeks can gain an advantage at Troy. To make the plan work, she needs Hypnos, the god of sleep, to close Zeus's eyes. Hypnos refuses. He remembers helping Hera once before, when she used his power against Zeus during the story of Heracles. Zeus woke furious. He hurled gods around his palace and searched especially for sleep, intending to throw him from heaven into the sea. Hypnos escaped to Nyx, and Zeus stopped. That tiny moment is the foundation of almost every modern statement that Nyx was so powerful even Zeus feared her. But Homer's wording is more interesting than a simple power ranking. Zeus does not fight Nyx. He does not threaten her. He holds back because he is unwilling to do something that would displease Night. That is our first clue. Nyx is not being treated like another Olympian rival. She belongs to something older, broader, and harder to reduce to a contest of strength. If you enjoy discovering what the ancient texts actually say behind famous mythology claims, like the video, share it with another mythology fan, and tell us in the comments. Before this video, did you think Nyx was simply stronger than Zeus? What Homer actually says. In Book 14 of the Iliad, Hypnos describes Nyx as a force who bends both gods and men beneath her power. One translation says Zeus stood in awe of her. Another renders the moment more directly. Zeus did not dare do anything that would displease Night. That is not quite the same as saying Zeus trembled in terror because Nyx could defeat him in battle. Homer gives us no duel between Zeus and Nyx. There is no ancient scene in which Nyx overpowers Zeus with magic, strips him of the thunderbolt, or proves that she is physically stronger. Those are modern expansions of a much shorter passage. But the passage is still remarkable. Zeus is the god who defeated the Titans, crushed challenges to his rule, and can threaten other Olympians with overwhelming force. Yet when Hypnos reaches Nyx for protection, Zeus abandons the pursuit. The key word is not necessarily fear in the modern sense. It is closer to awe, reverence, or a powerful reluctance to violate the standing of Night. And that makes the question more interesting. Why would the king of Olympus treat Nyx as a boundary he should not cross? Nyx was older than Olympus. Part of the answer lies in where Nyx belongs in the Greek cosmos. In Hesiod's Theogony, Nyx does not descend from Zeus, Cronus, or even Uranus. She appears almost at the beginning of existence. First comes chaos. From chaos emerge Erebus, the darkness below, and black night. Nyx therefore belongs to the earliest generation of cosmic beings, long before the familiar Olympian order is established. With Erebus, she produces ether and hemera, brightness and day. The image is almost cosmic architecture. Night and deep darkness give birth to the light above and the returning day. Zeus enters the genealogy much later. That does not automatically mean older equals stronger. Greek myth does not operate like a game where the oldest character always has the highest power level. Zeus can defeat older beings. The Olympian order exists precisely because one generation can overthrow another. But Nyx is different from a defeated former ruler such as Cronus. She is not a deposed king imprisoned beneath the world. She is night itself. Every day, her domain returns. Gods and humans alike exist inside the rhythm she represents. Darkness is not a political office Zeus can simply take away. It is part of the structure of the cosmos. The children born from night, Hesiod makes Nyx even more unsettling by describing what comes from her. Without a partner, night gives birth to doom, fate, death, sleep, and the tribe of dreams. She also produces misery, nemesis, deceit, old age, and strife. Through strife comes another chain of painful forces: toil, forgetfulness, famine, sorrows, battles, murders, quarrels, lawlessness, and ruin. This genealogy is not a list of superheroes serving their mother. It is a poetic map of human existence. What belongs naturally to night? Sleep and dreams. What feels close to darkness? Death, uncertainty, deception, grief, and things outside ordinary control. Hesiod gathers these experiences into one family. That is why Nyx can feel so much larger than a goddess with a specific job. Athena can represent wisdom and warfare. Poseidon rules the sea and shakes the earth. Apollo reaches across prophecy, music, healing, and plague. Nyx is the condition that surrounds everyone when daylight disappears. Her children include forces even the gods must take seriously. Hypnos can close divine eyes. Thanatos embodies death. The fates determine portions of life and traditions that are not always easy to place beneath Zeus's personal command. Nyx's power is therefore less about throwing a stronger weapon and more about standing at the source of realities no ruler fully escapes. Why Hypnos ran to her? That returns us to Hypnos. When Zeus hunts him, Sleep does not run to another Olympian. He does not hide behind Poseidon, Apollo, or Athena. He goes to his mother, Night. The choice tells us how the story imagines protection. Hypnos is already powerful. Hera says he is lord over gods and men, and he is capable of putting Zeus himself to sleep under the right circumstances. Yet after provoking Zeus, he still needs somewhere beyond Zeus's anger. Nyx becomes that refuge. The scene works because night naturally contains sleep. Hypnos disappearing into Nyx is almost more than family loyalty. Sleep returns to the cosmic condition from which it belongs. Zeus can punish an individual god. But what would it mean to attack night because sleep took refuge there? The myth does not explain the consequences. Homer does not tell us that the stars would fall, that the cosmos would collapse, or that Nyx would destroy Olympus. We should not invent an answer the poem never gives. What Homer gives us is restraint. Zeus recognizes a limit and stops. For a god famous for enforcing order through force, that restraint may tell us more than another battle ever could. Fear, awe, or respect. So was Zeus actually afraid of Nyx? The safest answer is, Homer presents Zeus as being in awe of night and unwilling to offend her. Calling that fear is understandable shorthand, but it can become misleading if we imagine Zeus hiding from Nyx or believing she could easily defeat him. Ancient Greek divine relationships are not always rankings. Power can mean force. It can also mean age, sacred status, cosmic necessity, jurisdiction, or the danger of crossing a boundary that should remain intact. We have seen this elsewhere in Greek myth. Zeus is supreme, but he still swears by the Styx. He can command gods, yet oaths, fate, prophecy, and ancient cosmic structures continue to matter. Divine kingship is powerful without making every other force meaningless. Nyx fits that pattern unusually well. She is primordial, but not presented as a rebel trying to seize Olympus. She has no famous war against Zeus. She does not need his throne. That may be precisely why the relationship feels different. A rival king can be defeated. Night cannot be permanently conquered without changing the world itself. So the Iliad may not be telling us that Nyx is secretly the strongest combatant in mythology. It may be showing us that even Zeus's authority exists inside a cosmos containing powers older and more fundamental than his kingship. Nyx Beyond Homer. Later traditions make Nyx's cosmic status even more striking. In Orphic material, night can appear not merely as darkness, but as a primordial holder of authority and a source of divine knowledge. Ancient Orphic theogonies preserved in fragments describe Nyx holding a cosmic scepter after the first ruler, Phans. The Dervini tradition also places Zeus in relation to an oracle of night as he establishes his rule. These traditions are not simply extra chapters of Homer. They come from different religious and poetic contexts, and we should not blend them into one supposedly universal biography of Nyx. But they show that Greek thinkers could imagine night as more than a decorative personification. She could stand near the foundations of sovereignty, prophecy, and cosmic order. That helps explain why the brief Homeric scene had such staying power. The idea of Zeus respecting Nyx does not feel random in a culture where night could be imagined as primordial, generative, prophetic, and unavoidable. Yet we should also notice what Nyx is not. She is not one of the 12 Olympians. She has relatively few famous adventure myths compared with Athena, Apollo, or Aphrodite. Her importance comes less from appearing constantly in stories and more from what she represents whenever she does appear. Why night stands outside the throne? So why was Nyx feared even by Zeus? Because the ancient evidence gives us something subtler than a hidden super-goddess stronger than the king of Olympus. Homer gives us a moment where Zeus, furious enough to destroy sleep, stops when sleep reaches night. The text presents Zeus as unwilling to offend her. Hesiod gives us the deeper background. Nyx is born near the beginning of the cosmos, before Olympian government, and becomes the mother of sleep, death, dreams, doom, nemesis, strife, and other forces woven into mortal and divine existence. Later Orphic traditions can place night even closer to primordial authority and divine counsel. Put those strands together carefully, and a pattern emerges. Zeus rules. Nyx does not need to challenge that rule because she represents something his throne does not create. Every sunset proves her domain still exists. Every sleeping god enters the realm associated with her. Every dream, every night journey, every fear and darkness, and every return of dawn begins from a world in which night has already arrived. That is why the most interesting part of the story is not whether Nyx could beat Zeus in a fight. It is that Greek myth could imagine a king of gods powerful enough to shake Olympus, and still wise enough to recognize that some powers are not enemies to defeat. They are boundaries to respect. If you enjoyed this journey, like the video, share it with another mythology fan, and tell us in the comments. Do you read Zeus's reaction to Nyx as fear, respect, or recognition of a cosmic limit? And if there is another primordial god, forgotten deity, strange myth, or ancient mystery you want us to investigate, leave it below. Your requests help us decide where Gods and Heroes Unveiled goes next.